Welcome to the Seriously Speaking podcast, a safe healing space where people share their personal journeys and experiences, telling us how they overcame their traumas and learned to heal. Please welcome your host, LaShawn, who will be your friends on your personal journey to healing.
Welcome to Seriously Speaking Podcast, where we take a journey together. I'm your host, LaShawn, and I would like to thank you guys for tuning in for another one of my podcasts. Now, let's get right to what Seriously Speaking is about. Seriously Speaking is about bridging both the healed and unhealed together. What do I mean by healed? Healed from past traumas. Now, emotional traumas are defined as the end result of events or experiences that leave us feeling deeply unsafe and often helpless. Now, it can result from a single event or be part of an ongoing experience. And at Seriously Speaking, I want to bring both the healed and unhealed together so that the healed can share their journey and processes of overcoming and triumph past their emotional traumas so that the unhealed can have encouragement and have some information that can help them as they begin their journey. And that's what Seriously Speaking is about. We usually address the first traumas, which is the elephant in the room, whenever we're going through our processes of healing. But I want you to understand that we typically experience, many traumas in our lifetime. And a lot of it we are unaware of. And that's why I would like for you to go back and listen to my previous podcast where I talk about the unconscious and how you can start looking into the unconscious mind where we hold a lot of our traumas and we're not aware of it to help you on your journey. Now, with those traumas come responses. Your responses like anger, depression, manipulation, habitual lying, passiveness, anxiety, insomnia. These are just a few. There are many different types of trauma responses, and you can look up those online, and you can also take a look within and see what your responses are. Because how we're operating on planet Earth as a human race is not normal at all. And a lot of time, most of us mask who we are in the world so that others can't see us for who we truly are. And I do believe that we are in the middle of a lot of that unveiling taking place. The veil is lifting. And this is the reason why I feel that I was led spiritually to start this podcast, because in order to move forward to what's going to take place on planet Earth, we have to make sure that our hearts are not blocked, or as they say in the Old Testament, hardened. We want to make sure that we are on the right frequency. And so let me tell you about my process before I go a little further. My process for those who have healed on their journey to share with those who are unhealed or on their journey of healing is to email me at Syrian_speaks@yahoo.com. That's SIRIAN_SPEAKS@yahoo.com. Share your experiences so that we can start a community here on Seriously Speaking of helping others, because I can assure you we're going to need it because time is short. And this is the reason why I'm doing a part 2, reflections and projections. Now, on my previous podcast, I talked about reflections, how we in life, which we're not being told, is the law of reflection. So whatever we put out there, we're reflecting back to ourselves. We're mirroring the imbalances within us out onto the world, and we don't know it. And until we'll deal with ourselves on an individual basis, this chaos that we're experiencing on the planet will not go away. And I wanted people to understand how serious it is right now on the planet. So I shared that we have 3 suns in the sky. And I wanted people to understand what's the importance of 3 suns in the sky. So I used a couple of examples of, they talk about global warming on the planet, which is real, but they never talk about what's actually causing the global warming. They say that it is us, and technically they're correct because anytime the creator has to bring three suns together, there's something that has to be done on the planet, which means if you look at all of us, we are not balanced and we're harming the planet on top of that and the children. So things has to be put back into order. And since they're not telling us what the suns really are, and I actually would suggest that you go on YouTube and listen to Eric Dollard. It's like a 30-minute interview. And he's like sitting in a car. He's being asked questions about the sun. Eric Dollard is a former engineer of RCA, and he was commissioned to study the solar system, the suns and the planets, because they needed to put satellites orbiting the planet as well as pointing towards the sun. So they had to know what they were dealing with, understand the sciences before they can move forward with technology. And Eric was one of those projects. He talks about the sun. I suggest you go and you listen to that. And so the Hopi Indians talked about the red Kachina and the blue Kachina. Kachina means sun. They talked about this time on Earth not along with, but also the Mayans talked about this time on Earth. And when you see the red Kachina and the blue Kachina in the sky, that the purification begins on the planet, and then there's a beginning. And we're in the middle of that. Now, how did I come about hearing about the three suns? And I know those who listen to the podcast are going to have questions about that. Well, my journey on this particular subject started in November 2016. It was a beautiful day, and I was standing outside and I looked up because they were chemtrails. And I understand how things work, not 100%, but I understand that what we call the chemtrails serve multiple purposes. Okay. But the main purpose, and I got a chance to see it with my own two eyes, is to cover up some things going on that we can't see or we're not paying attention to on a daily basis. So when I saw them chemtrail and I looked up and I said, okay, they're hiding something. They're hiding something. So I looked up and to the right, slightly, I guess you can say, like the 2 o'clock position of the sky. And I saw a red planet, fire red planet. I'm telling you what I saw because my mother was standing next to me and she turned and looked into the 12 o'clock position of the sky. And she started screaming, there's a second sun. There are two suns. There are two suns. Now, I had already known at that point about the suns. Well, actually, I knew about, I think, the one sun, but I didn't know there were numerous of planets also. And I should have known because when there are suns, there are planets. When there are planets, there are moons. And so as I look and I hear my mother in shock next to me, a chemtrail, a cloud, moves right over that planet and I could no longer see it. And I don't understand totally the technology they're using to hide things, but I am telling you they are. Now, what is the significance of all of this? And what does it have to do with us on the planet? Well, let's get back to the suns. Whenever the human body is heating up, it's fighting off an infection, a virus, bacteria infection, if you will. And that's exactly what the planet is doing. But it's also raising the frequency on the planet. Now, the second universal law, the law of vibration, posits that everything, every atom, object, living thing is in constant motion, vibrating at a specific frequency. In other words, everything is vibrational energy, including you. So if those suns are directing an excessive amount of energy onto this planet and you cannot reach that vibrational frequency, you would do exactly what your body does when it can't kill off the infection. So we're short on time, people. Now, when I saw those planets, or that planet, and my mother saw that sun, I started going online and start researching. Asking ye shall receive, seeking ye shall find, knock and the door will be opened unto you. And I started searching for weeks. I needed the truth. I wanted to know what's exactly going on because I couldn't put everything together. And I came across a gentleman who made a video. I don't believe in coincidences. And I know this wasn't a coincidence because this information led me straight to the truth based on the science. And he had a YouTube channel called angry catfish. The angry catfish. Now, I think it has been taken down, but he's also on BitChute. So I suggest you go there and look at his videos where he shows you the science on Izawa. Izawa is a tool that the civilians, we can use to get the data from two satellites that orbits the planet, and it reads information in the sciences where if you study magnetism you can understand what Izawa is showing you. Well, he teaches you that on his channel, how to read it, how to read the instruments that it gives you, where to go, how to set it up, where you can observe what's going on outside of the planet. And when I saw this, he directed us to Khan Academy. It is a website online that teaches children about the science. But I'm not a huge science person, so I had to start with the basics to understand what Eric was teaching us. Angry Catfish. His name is Eric Briggs. Anyway, as I looked at the science, I said, holy, not only was the science correct, this man also was able to decode the hieroglyphs and help you to understand that what the ancient Egyptian called Ra was the blue kachina, and what they called Horus was the red kachina, or the red sun, or the blue sun. Now remember, on a different spectrum, the blue sun would be the black sun, which the Nazis talked about. And there's information out there about this. Now, when you get to look at the science and you look at the ancient texts of what the Hopi Indians and the Mayans talked about during this time, I feel it's extremely important for people to begin to get themselves together. And if your heart is blocked from your traumas, from past experiences that you can't get past, because these traumas hold a low vibration. So if the planet is going up in a higher vibration and you are vibrating in a lower vibration, you're not going to make it. So this is why the podcast is important. You need to start to look at yourselves, because the people you've elected is not telling you the truth. They're not telling you what's going on. So it's up to you to look into it. I'm simply standing in a door and saying, hey, you need to walk down this door and that door and that door so that you can be able to help yourself and others. Now, you don't have to believe me. I challenge you to look this information up and share it with others. It's time people know. I do believe it's time that the universe wants people to know, because time is short. Now, when you start talking about the different traumas, I want you to start looking into chakras. Now, chakras are various focal points used in a variety of ancient meditations and practice. It means will in Sanskrit, referring to energy points in your body. There are many of them, but there are 7 main ones, okay? Starting from your crown to your root chakras. And when they are off balance, it causes your body to be off balance. Health issues, emotional issues, mental issues, sexual issues. It causes a lot of issues. Now, chakras are thought to provide like subtle energy that helps, again, our organs, our mind, and our intellectual work at our best level when we're operating balance. Now, the heart chakra is one of the most important chakras in the body. It is what you can say, it's the very first thing that you want to look at, because this is where we store a lot of emotional trauma. It's our heart, and we close it off. And when we close it off, we become these other people. So the heart is very, very important that you start looking at. And I also want you to look at what happens, some of the responses, trauma responses of what happened when the heart chakra is blocked. You find yourself, you isolate yourself exclusively. You feel lonely, you hold grudges against people, you mask who you are, frequently feel jealous, overly defensive, argumentative, angry. There's a fear of intimacy. You go through a bad breakup, a bad marriage. You no longer want to be in relationships. You've blocked your heart. It's important that you start working through those things, especially this time on earth. Some people also become the rescue of people. This is in other ways that you find that your heart is blocked. Difficulty trusting others, which is actually you're mirroring back how you feel about yourself. You're actually having difficulties trusting yourself. And that goes back to my previous podcast, part one to this, where I talk about the law of reflections. And then there's shyness and again, depression. These are just a few that I name when the heart chakra is blocked, some of the responses from it when it's blocked. And it's important that we start looking at this. Now, the Mayans did give a timeline on all of this. And I also urge you to look up Ian Lungold, IANLUNGOLD. He did a brilliant job in breaking down the Mayan calendar. Brilliant, brilliant job. Now, he transitioned years back from, I believe, from throat cancer, but I believe some of his work still exists on YouTube. So also check him out as you begin your research, because again, you don't have to believe what I'm telling you. Do your research and look yourself. There are videos online of people showing another sign. The angry catfish have shown evidence of this, and we're not being told the truth. So you have to start asking why. I want people to really start to look at themselves. I do believe the universe has given us enough time to get ourselves together, because I also believe that Mother Earth wants us to go along with her on the ride. But you cannot exist on a planet that is going up in frequency and you want to remain the same. You will not make it. You will not make it. So it is important that you start to heal. You start to work on becoming the better version of yourself. And you want to do this because if you have children, if you are blocked in your heart, you won't hear the call. You won't know where to be at the right place. And we will be putting our loved ones in jeopardy. Now, I'm not fear mongering. I'm just telling you this is how it works out. So it's important. It's not easy. I understand being on that path. I understand more than you know. It's not easy when you look at yourself and you start your journey of healing. I am telling you, that is one of the hardest things that you will have to face on this planet. I am telling you, it is the hardest. When you have to look at your own ugliness, darkness, and admit to it, and then work past it, it's not easy. But there are tools out there. There are tools that can help you. People have put subliminal, these affirmations out there that can help you. These binary sounds that can help you. And trust me, I know I've tried them. I've tried them. I've listened to this, and these has helped. They help a lot. I've talked about how I requested a lot of my trauma be processed by way of my dream. And for me, that worked. I'm saying be creative on how you get that help, because you have so many people believe in angels, and they're there, believe in spiritual God, believe that there is a spiritual family out there that wants to help, but we don't call for help. We only call when we're in danger or hurting. Listen, ask the spiritual family, the angels, to help you to be creative about assisting you with releasing the trauma. Trust me when I tell you they're ready to help, not only with emotional trauma, but with everything, helping you to understand science, helping you to understand math. I'm telling you, it's there. We just don't know it. I'm giving you that information because it was shown to me. Think about it. I want you to do your part in researching the Kachinas, Hopi, Hopii, Indians, Mayas, Mayan calendar, Ian Lungold. Look at his research on it. I believe the Aztecs taught, the Egyptians, the hieroglyphs, what you're looking at are celestial bodies. They're not deities. They're not human beings. They're celestial bodies. And just like Earth is a living being, so the suns and other planets and moons. They are magnetic. We are electromagnetic beings. Tesla says, if you want to understand the universe, learn energy, frequency, and vibration. If you want to understand about instantaneous manifestation, understand energy, frequency, and vibration. If you want to understand how to heal and how to move forward, understand energy, frequency, and vibration. All these ancient civilizations and great minds keep saying the same things, and we're not listening. It's time to listen. Time is short. And that's all I have for you today. If you want to leave a comment about this, you have any questions, please do. I'll do my best to answer it. If you would like to share your journey of healing, please do email me at Syrian_speaks, and I will be glad to interview you. Honored. Okay. Well, again, thank you all for tuning in to Reflections and Projections Part 2. I want you all to have a wonderful and prosperous day. Take care, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Seriously Speaking podcast. Make sure to tune in next week. If you would like to listen to the podcast on YouTube, go to Seriously Speaking Podcast. And to get in touch with LaShawn, please contact her at email address Syrian_speaks@yahoo.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the like button.